Welcome to the first editorial presented in YouTube from Karra and I, Russ Hatfield. She is a higher dimensional member of Ashtar Command and my twin soul. I am an archivist for the channeling sessions posted at hadespace.com from her and other members of Ashtar Command, along with a transcript of this editorial. We hope you'll subscribe at the end to be alerted to future editorials, channeling sessions, and lessons from the Center for Ascension. Here now is our editorial for January called 2020. So where should we start? Hindsight being 2020, what a year we have been through collectively as a planet. The statement, thrown for a loop, would hardly do it justice, but we must start somewhere, beginning with a virus that has wreaked havoc on the lives and livelihoods of billions of people. That kind of shared suffering is what defines this year and has provided a backdrop of seriousness to everything since last January. The only constant thing we have come to expect over this last year is adjusting to the constantly changing environment. It's easy to write off 2020 as an aberration brought on by a confluence of events that has disrupted the lives of pretty much everyone, and it would probably be better if we left it at that. That, though, would ignore the bigger reality of 2020 being a year of both changes, good and bad. That said, we will break down the last 12 months to look a bit closer at what was gained and what was lost, plus review what is to come as a result of all that has taken place. We'll explore most likely predictions we can offer for the upcoming year until finally looking at the past and how everything must follow a predictable series of occurrences. Nothing happens by accident, so it's by a design of destiny that the past year has not been as bad as it seems in hindsight. Regardless of the politics, pandemics, hurricanes, and raging infernos, 2020 produced a more woke world so that some semblance of normality should restore the balance between light and what isn't light moving forward. First, what we lost. As of this writing, it is over 300,000 dead in the United States, and close to 2 million worldwide, with more to follow in the months to come with a new variant of the virus going around. Businesses, homes, education, and dignity have all been victims of COVID 19, but then came widespread divisions over common courtesy. The wearing of masks became a symbol right from the beginning, along with social distancing, defining a stand on opposing ideologies. The result was conflict, sometimes breaking out, as lines were drawn between families and family members over the restrictions imposed on personal freedoms to go and do everything at will. Another thing lost was the joy of family gatherings during the holidays, with most having to rely on virtual experiences as a safer option. The greatest loss collectively experienced was the reliable certainty of what to expect upon waking each morning after checking the news and having to adjust to whatever the new normal was for that day. What about all that has been gained throughout this year? Science and the will of the American people is won out over fear-mongering and conspiracy theories. We can now see clearly the hidden hate coming out into the open, only to be repudiated by those seeking unity and equality. We see a light at the end of the tunnel instead of the alternative darker path we were going down as a country had there been a different election result. Worldwide, we learned how interconnected we are as a race and that no one country will be completely safe until we are all safe as a planet. The largest thing we gained was how interconnected we are as individuals and how our actions and the actions of others determine our future based on information considered either true or false. So, what can we expect from what we have seen so far? An evolving paradigm has emerged that is actually a good thing. The country is going through a national catharsis that has been put off for far too long. Those who lived through the Spanish flu of 1918 and are still alive to talk about it may be seeing history repeating itself. Mandatory masks and social distancing policies were just as controversial, if not more so then than they are today, until the wisdom of the policy was instrumental in slowing the spread of the disease. Towns were devastated, and whole cultures nearly wiped out before that control would be reached, and we are seeing those similar trends now. Pillars of the community in rural America are being taken away, and the chains of knowledge built up and passed on over generations, and the memories of senior citizens are being broken prematurely as it was then. After 2 years and the deaths of over 50 million people, herd immunity took hold and the disease was able to be controlled, and though not completely eliminated. 100 years of vaccine research, plus the advances medical science has achieved, will not let that number of dead reach that high. A year from now should give us a much different environment where the restrictions of today have been reduced. What the aftermath will be is hard to calculate. We are, though, seeing stories of changing attitudes on a daily basis, and news that was dismissed as fake is no longer something to be taken lightly. Empathy, along with understanding for the hardships frontline workers endure, has become one of the silver linings out of all this. The help provided by dedicated volunteers feeding long lines of cars waiting for food assistance has been another. A pandemic and an election have divided us and united us in ways we never could have imagined 4 years ago. In recapping the lessons learned from 2020 to this point, we find plenty to be thankful for, including the possibility to come out stronger from the experience as a race of beings. People often won't believe something until they see it, and 2020 gave us a lot to see that forced many to reevaluate their priorities. The process of social change is glacially slow yet inevitable when the common good becomes threatened. To have survived all we have been through makes it seem as though the four horsemen of the apocalypse had visited, as though through it all the human spirit has been tempered by events medical, political, social, and ecological. Who could have predicted the historic nature of the year and why it was necessary? Of all the parallel timelines there were to choose from, we decided this was the one that was going to be the best for our growth of consciousness. The answer seems easy when viewed from the perspective of 100,000 years since man last was able to walk the dry ground of Atlantis. As was seen then, and has been repeated time after time since, divisions of ideological positions are manifesting in a major way, which brings with it a growth of consciousness because choices must be made that defines a person's spirit. That is for the good, and the world would be a better place if such growth became an overriding principle. A person's own morality is a driving motivation that focuses less on material attachments as a reality sets in that life could be a lot shorter than planned. Well, we here at the Hades-based News and those members of Ashtar Command who are part of it are here to assist with that growth. We hope all forms of research into higher dimensional knowledge is undertaken from as many sources as possible because it feels like the shift is about to get real as we begin 2021. In light, love, and wisdom is one, Russ and Karra.